Hello everyone, I hope you're well, and we are up to the second prompt for volume 8, and today's prompt is something thrifted. So you've probably watched Rachel's video and seen what she's done, so I understand that some of you may not find things in thrift stores or may not have access to things in thrift stores. So maybe you could do something like something potentially you could find in a thrift store. Might be an old piece of fabric or a vintage piece of lace or a doily, another doily. We're going to have a lot of doilies on this thing. You get to, you really, if you're doing a big one, you're going to be adding a lot. So one thing I wanted to show you before I get started is I just wanted to show you some images of Pam's quilt. So these are Pam Garrison's summertime quilt, and yes, it was made many years ago. I think someone said they couldn't find any of her stuff beyond, I think she said 2014. Yeah, that's because, as we explain, Pam doesn't, well, not that I've found, unless she's posting somewhere else. Her blog was from a long time ago, and I haven't really seen her posting her stitching. Excuse me. Why do I always sneeze when I'm on camera? Probably because there's a light above me. The light makes you sneeze. Anyway, so these are some images. I know it's not the clearest thing, and I know, sorry, the light might be shining on it. But just to give you an idea of what the summertime quilt is, in case you haven't looked, you can see that she has like doilies everywhere and bits of fabric, and she's cut things out and she's done her own embroideries. She did machine stitch a lot of this, and she does a lot of, this is probably free motion machine embroidery, but obviously we're doing it by hand. So it's just our information, our inspiration. This is a closer shot of the same thing, and I'm pretty sure that's machine embroidery, and that and this would be hand embroidery. So these things that we love, the cross stitches. So you can see how she's really collaged it all in. So that's what we're aiming for, and I really love this image. So I hope it's in focus. So many bits of doilies, and it's just beautiful the way she's put it together, but she's also got some stitching, and oh, I love that writing. It's lovely font. If that's her handwriting, it's really lovely. So I just wanted to show you them to give you the idea of what her quilt looks like, and this is why we were wanting a neutral background, but I know some of you have gone for more pattern backgrounds, and that's all right. You do what you want to do. Just be mindful that you do need to fit 20 prompts in, or you might not like the prompts. You might only want to fit some of them in. And I know there's people not doing a quilt, but they've got their own ideas, and I'm really keen to see how they turn out as well, because there's some great ideas. So back to mine. I've done my finger's sore. I've done so much cantha stitching on this. I've canthaed all over it, everywhere. It takes a really long time, but I love the texture that it gives you. I haven't even done it that small. And then on the back, the texture that the cantha gives. This is a bit loose. I need to pull that down a bit. So what I might do is I might cantha a bit more on there, but I can do that later. Or if there's any bits that look a bit funny, you could always put something over it. Have I got one of those things? You know, the flowers, the applique flowers. There was one on Pam's quilt. Where is it? These things. This type of thing. Or you could cut out a flower from a tablecloth and just put over your joins, whatever. If you don't like it, it could be decorative on the back and on the front. So what I've done with this one from last week, I have invisible stitched around the outside of the embroidery and around the inside of the embroidery. So it's quite firmly stitched on, but I haven't done the edges yet. So the edges, I'm using a pink perlé. There goes my cat. A pink perlé. This is an old one, but I love the bright color. And I'm going to do little running stitches the whole way through. So just to show you, I don't want the running stitches coming through onto the back. So what I'll do is I'll just capture the little edge, just that top layer of the fabric underneath, hiding my knot. And I'm going to start it here. And you can kind of just feel, just in a bit so we can see it a little bit, you can kind of just feel that you're capturing the edge, but you're definitely not going through all the layers of fabric. So just little running stitches. Now with this, one thing I was thinking was that this quilt, if you're doing it like Pam's, is going to build up. So at the moment it looks very plain because I've got the neutral backgrounds and I've only got one doily on here and I've just got a couple of pieces of fabric. But eventually, once I get it all in, I will build it up. So I might even come back onto this and put something in the middle, for example, or do some embroidery around the outside. So it is going to be a continual work in progress where you can just add things as you go. And the prompts, adding the prompts as you go as well, will definitely build it up. Don't worry, I'm not going to do this whole thing on camera. Just giving you an idea of how I do it. It's quite good having this smaller piece. I'm finding it quite manageable compared to having a whole quilt, but there's people doing a great job on their quilt so far as well. I was going to use one of my my hand-dyed wools. The only thing I'm just a bit worried about, because this is a quilt and I probably will have it on my bed, that means it needs to be able to go into the washing machine, and I probably would need to colour test some of my wools, because if they're sort of hand dyed by a big company, they should be fine because they're designed to be used for jumpers and socks, and I wouldn't expect that the wool would run. But if it is hand dyed by someone who's done it themselves, you might just want to check it to make sure it doesn't run. Okay, so that little messy running stitch, I can do that a bit neater. That's going to go all the way around the outside, and because this is still a bit floppy, I might just come in with a sewing machine thread that's that colour, that purpley colour, and just stitch down the edges. All right, so I'm going to leave that. Sorry, I'm a little bit up on the camera, and I'm going to shift my piece down. So this spot here, I kind of left it blank because this is where something thrifted is coming in. And I've got my bits hanging off the edges because what they'll do is they'll overlap onto my next block. Same here all around. So I can attach my wadding, and I'll show you how to do that when I get up to that. And these doilies and stuff will overlap. So this is my something thrifted. A little bit stained, but how pretty is that? I got this a little while ago at the sewing basket. It doesn't lay very flat, but this is my something thrifted, because the sewing basket technically is a crafty thrift store, and I love cross stitch. Love it. So that is going there, and the extra part is hanging off because it will go onto the other block. So the way I will attach this is the same way I did the other one. I'm going to do invisible stitch around the inside, invisible stitch around the outside, And I might do invisible stitch around the outer edge until I decide what I want to do with it, because I probably will do something with it. It's a bit boring just having that blue. I'm just thinking, I don't even know if I like that blue. I'm tempted to cut it off. It'd be nicer if it had some lace around it. Should I cut the blue off? Maybe I'll just leave it. I can add some lace as well. All right, so just need to get my pins. Where's my Dawny mouse? Here's my Dawn mouse. Okay, let's get some pins. Okay, get this pin down. I'm going to try and keep it straight, and I need to not stitch all the way down. Probably do need to start thinking about getting my next block started. Now, when I'm invisible stitching, I like to start in the middle and then work my way out to try and make sure that it doesn't pucker. That will go there. Just pin that. Okay. Now I need a smaller needle. What have we got? That one will be good, and just let me find. That one's a bit off-white. I'm going to find a bit more of a white one. What have I got here on my table? No, that's a bit off-white. One sec. Just going to grab my other cotton. Okay, this is the one I've been using. I got quite a lot of these. I love these ones. Are we in focus? Okay, I'll show you invisible stitch. We've shown this a million times, yes, but we've always got new people joining. So it is a basis of what we do when we slow stitch. So it's important that people know how to do it. Okay. I think I'm going to do that running stitch on the thing a bit better. I want to do it smaller. I want it nice and neat. So I was just looking at it. It's not so great. So invisible stitch. Now I am not going to go through to the bottom layer. I'm only attaching to the top layer. Okay. Just move my light over. Hope you can see. Let's move this up a bit. All right, so all I've done is I've pulled my thread through my doily, and I do a very tiny one on the top, just capturing the fabric underneath, and then a slightly longer one underneath. And you literally, it's so tiny, the stitch, you don't even see it. And I'm just going to go around close to where the cross stitch is. Now I will add some more thrifted things because, to be honest, most of what I've got, not most, but a lot of what I've got is thrifted, because I do like old things. As you know, we like old things, and often the only way to get old things is by finding them in antique stores, vintage stores, op shops, reclaimed old textiles. Sorry, am I on camera? I think I might have gone a bit high there. Once I feel like it's secure, I can take the pins out as I go so you don't stab yourself. So I was thinking about my bird doilies because I have so many and I love them. Depending on how many blocks I do, I'm going to add at least one bird doily to every block, because I wanted my quilt to be the basis, to be my bird doilies, because they are my favourite, and then I'll get to see them instead of having them in boxes. Isn't that just the most pretty cross stitch? Really like this thing. This, what would it have been, a tray cloth maybe? All right, so I think you probably get the idea of what I'm doing. So as I said, I'll go around, keep going around the inside just until about here, and then I'll go around the outside, and then later on when I attach the other things, I'll be able to go around that as well. And then I'm just going to go around there. You can always do teeny tiny invisible stitch around the outside, and then later on you might want to do a decorative stitch. I'm just checking, I can feel that I'm not going through the other side, which is good because I don't want the random stitches everywhere. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do tonight. I have done a lot of stitching on this week. My finger's actually really sore. Don't normally stitch that much. I've been trying to get a bit done at night and stuff. So that's it for this week. This is my thrifted, and next week we'll be back with the next prompt. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.